Today's a good day. It's a Sunday.
Happy Mother's Day
Yeah.
to all the moms.
Yep.
I know you're not a mom, but you are a dad. You have your own day.
I do.
But
I do.
happy Mother's Day to all the moms watching.
Darn
I know
right.
we get a huge contingency of moms uh, tuning into the show. So,
Oh, that's
but
anywhere from 5 to 95% of our audience. So yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean 1 to 99.9% are
yeah.
moms.
It's really solid. So we do a good job with it. So yeah, to all you moms out there, happy Mother's Day. This one's for you.
Did you watch the pay-per-view at all?
Which one?
Money in the Bank
I
tonight.
didn't, but I got a few reports on it. So did you see
Okay,
it?
I'm trying. No spoilers. I'm gonna watch it after we're done.
Nice, nice. Uh,
So,
yeah, I did finish watching Over the Edge '99.
oh, that's the Owen Hart death one.
Yeah, it is, and they've heavily edited it on the network, so that like it basically just cuts from one match to the other. There's none of the backstage stuff where you think maybe Jeff Jarrett saw his friend.
Oh, and he's like crying.
Yeah, so
Yeah, like there's that clip on YouTube of him like weeping.
yeah,
What a horrible thing to happen at a live event. And then just to keep like, okay, your friend's dead. One of the more beloved people in all the entire locker room, and you're just
hmm
all, no, let's plow.
yeah,
Let's plow through.
yeah. Like part of me is like, that makes sense on some levels, but at the same time, like, I don't know, Cirque du Soleil got stopped when a person died.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah, I'm a
kind of,
big show must go on kind of guy, but
right.
man, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Like
especially when they
sometimes if
die.
we're doing a comedy show and one of us dies,
It,
we're gonna cancel the show.
yeah, yeah, I would agree. So,
You know?
I mean, it depends on how close to your closer we were, but yeah,
Right, right,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
You know, somebody who's working out a really new bit.
yeah, I
Really
could
new.
totally see a open micer complaining about that. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that is I did watch as of note before we get into the meat and potatoes. I did watch the UWF edition of calling or of Dark Side of the Ring, and
That was fun.
I loved every moment of it.
Oh, that was fun. I listened
One
to the
of the, I thought it was one of the best episodes they've done, to be honest.
it.
And
Yeah, it was. It didn't have murder in it, which was nice. And I
no
also,
girlfriend's named Nancy, you
yeah,
know.
I really liked just that one line of B. Brian Blair's of just I think he died doing what he loved, hookers and cocaine.
Right, right. And when they're like, "What do you think you'd be doing now?" And Foley says, "Time."
Time.
Best.
So good.
Excellent comedic timing there by old Mick Foley.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh, the UWF, not to be confused with Jim Crockett's UWF,
Right.
which I think a lot of people got confused about that. This other UWF was a early '90s. It was a California-based promotion.
Hmm.
It was basically started by some mark
Yeah.
that just had some ducats and had a way of charming people into sponsoring them,
Yep.
and basically swindled Sports Channel out of $1 million. I highly recommend watching it. It's everything to love about the seedy side of pro wrestling,
Yeah.
condensed into 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's what I liked about it the most was that it had the carnival aspect of it that you always hear about with wrestling.
right,
Like it felt carny.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And what a character that guy was. Uh, Good lord.
Yeah.
A man after my own heart. I'm glad I never had money.
I li-
But yeah,
I
it
listened
was
to an interview with Greg Valentine just recently, just for kicks, because Greg
just for
Valentine's a
funsies.
fun interview, and he said something like they brought up UWF, so I guess it just popped to the top of my algorithm, but he was talking about UWF. He's like, yeah, that guy's dead, and he still owes me $2,000.
That's hilarious. Makes so much sense.
That does.
Uh, yeah, the entire episode was just so fun,
Oh, it
and I'm
was.
looking forward to Tuesdays, which is the Road Warriors,
That's gonna
which
be a rush.
incredible because you kind of always wanted to know that the backstory of that team, which was uh, just famous for working super stiff, and then all of Hawk's problems, and
Yeah,
Animal being kind of from a wrestling family, which a lot of people don't know about.
yeah.
Uh, that
His
Johnny
brother's
Ace,
Johnny Ace, right?
his birthday, his brother. So
Yeah,
that one should be a lot of fun. But
yeah. Who was your favorite out of those two? Mine was Hawk.
oh, Hawk
Yeah. What
by
was it
far,
about Hawk? Because he wasn't the bigger of the two. He was more cut, but that wasn't what got me.
for sure. It's one of those. Yeah, I think Hawk can work the mic better.
Yeah,
I was always a big mic guy.
yeah,
Um, I loved Animals whole "Tell him Hawk,"
yeah.
and then
Will.
Hawk looked like he could really legit beat the living shit out of you.
That's true.
Like he seemed like a maniac.
Yeah,
You know, uh, and honestly, Animal had kind of maybe a better move set with the power slam and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just was always drawn to Hawk.
yeah.
He looked like such a Mad Max warrior.
He did. He had the simpler face paint too. Like
He
Animal
did.
started really getting with the intricate spider stuff,
He had the
whereas
spider and shit. Yeah.
Hawk kept it just two little shapes and went with it. And I like
Right.
that. Hawk also had a really good drop kick, and I've always been a sucker for drop kicks.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hawk kind of moved kind of elegantly
Hmm.
for like a larger dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, Road Warriors, one of the greatest gimmicks of all time,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I'm super excited to watch it.
Yeah,
So,
me
what are
too.
we talking about tonight, Damien?
Tonight, actually, before we get to tonight, who was your favorite woman wrestler?
Woman wrestler.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's tough because again, I almost have to compartmentalize them into eras.
Yeah.
Uh, First woman wrestler I ever uh, took seriously was the Fabulous Moolah,
Hmm.
just because she was like she was the champion through almost my entire childhood.
Yep.
I mean, Winnie Richter took it off her for a minute, and then Moolah came back as the Black Widow and took it from her. But I remember thinking like, wow, Fabulous Moolah looks like my grandma, but she's whooping all these people's asses.
Yeah.
And the thing is like back in the day, there was maybe two. I think Moolah was maybe the only contracted wrestler on the entire WWF roster for
Might have been.
maybe years.
Yeah.
Um, and they would just have people come in on like one nighter deals
Right.
as like the person she would beat.
Yeah.
But that's my childhood memory is kind of Moolah,
Hmm.
and then I got really into Glow.
Okay.
For I mean honestly,
Yeah.
uh, I was captivated by Glow as a teenage boy. Watching basically, UHF television at 11:30 or midnight at night.
Yep.
I really love Tina Ferrari, who ended up becoming
Oh
Ivory.
wow. Okay.
Tina Moretti, I think, is her actual name. But
Yeah.
I thought Glow was so fun, and then Medusa Michelli and kind of that late '80s, early mid '90s era,
Sure.
which came off as a legit badass.
Yeah.
Uh, but kind of the modern era is really the era
Yeah. It
for
is.
for women wrestling, and I loved Paige. I
Mhm.
thought Paige's gimmick was rad.
Yeah.
I thought she had a great move set. Really could work. One of the first people I was like, oh wow, this person could really work.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I mean, I would say probably Paige. I love Sasha.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with probably Paige.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Paige was the only one that wasn't tan out of all of them.
Yeah, I always liked that. I always liked kind of her
Pastel.
look was super like
Unique.
goth, goth woman.
Yeah. I gotta
What
say,
about you?
when I was watching in the '80s, I loved the Jumping Bomb Angels.
The
Actually,
Jump Bomb Angels,
they were rad.
Japanese.
Yeah, they're Japanese, but I remember seeing them on the first Survivor series and just being captivated by the fact that all the other women were staying below the second rope by and
Right,
large,
yeah.
right? And these gals were just going crazy, going everywhere, and nobody had an answer for them. So I really liked the two of them. But getting into the '90s, I liked very little known, but uh, Tori Pock or Pooch. She
Oh
joined
yeah, Tori's
DX
great.
briefly.
She, yeah, she hung out with Kane and X
Hmm.
Pac a little bit.
Yeah,
She really,
she had a good look, and I thought she had some moves, but
yeah,
and then you get into like you said, you got to break it up into eras. You get into the modern era, and I have been a super mark for Bailey. most of the time. Like
Right.
Sasha's cool, but she's so little that like it ends up being okay. How long is she going to take a beating before she comes back? You know that kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. I mean, I can't hate on that. I think Bailey's great too.
Bailey's
Real
great.
quick, shout out to China,
Okay.
who was on just I mean, a whole different level of like at the time,
Right.
where she was one of the first, woman wrestlers that A wrestled men
True.
and B got over as a huge superstar that was demanding tons of money.
That's
So
true.
she could
That's
draw.
true.
And I think her stuff with Eddie Guerrero was, amazing.
Yeah, I think she was more an attraction and a personality than she was a wrestler, though. Like you watch her work now, and it's even for its time, it wasn't very good, but she got over big. Like she really
Yeah,
did.
just a huge personality.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Hogan,
Mhm.
Hogan can work a lick, but he was magnetic
Yeah,
as a personality, and I think she was kind of in the same thing.
I would agree.
Just larger than life personality, and
Yeah.
came around right at the right time to really make that kind of like the first time a popular men's stable really had a
Yep.
kind of a heater that was a woman.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Who actually was a difference maker in the ring?
totally.
Like when
Yeah.
she hit somebody with a nut shot, you believed it. You know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked like she could hurt you.
Yeah.
You know,
But I gotta
which
say, my favorite of all time, hands down, like across all the eras, Lita.
oh yeah, Lita's amazing.
She was.
Yeah, revolutionary, and shout out to Trish too,
Yep.
who also like her rivalry with Lita.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
really elevated that division when there was nothing going on.
Yeah.
So
They really. Yeah. They kept it going, and Lita was just. I mean, her moves were the most unique. She was. I mean, when she joined the Hardy Boys,
right,
and they were Team Extreme. That was, I think, the best. Like just the three of them, how they played off each other, and it was cool to see them doing each other's moves. And
right. First time I ever saw Lita,
hmm
she was with S.A. Rios at a
hmm
house show.
yeah,
I went to a house show in Davis. I'll never forget it. It was notable for other reasons, but yeah, I saw her and I was like, "Who is this?"
right,
And but the house show was The Rock versus Triple H for the title, and
nice.
I remember I had ringside seats, and Triple H was like, Rock was beating up on Triple H, and I remember like touching Triple H, and like touching his back,
Uh huh.
and the referee being like, "Dude, get off of him!" I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, it's so exciting."
That's funny.
Uh, I just want to touch him. Yeah, it was super funny. But yeah, Lita and Esarios, and I remember thinking like, man, they got to do something with her. I
hmm
don't know about Esarios, but
Yeah,
they should do something with her,
yeah,
and they did.
they
Good
did.
on that.
She was. Yeah, and it was in her. Um, before it was all about her romance with Matt,
Right,
but while they were still together too, like
right,
it wasn't the front and center of their storylines, but it
right.
was, it was just kind of baked in. I loved how much those three supported each other. So,
Yeah,
very
for sure.
positive and just very, again, her moves were just amazing. I mean, she was doing moonsaults and
Yeah,
she was doing
good
like
ones
whisper in the
too.
wind stuff, it
Yeah,
was, she was rad.
yeah, super talented.
Yeah. So
This
tonight's
is kind of
match.
the theme, right? So what are we watching?
Well, since we've been talking about women wrestlers, and this was actually just coincidental to today, we're going to talk about Bailey versus Sasha from NXT Takeover Brooklyn on August 22nd, 2015.
Okay, and should be noted this is one of the first real NXT's real big
Mm-hmm.
uh, special attraction
Yep.
events.
Yep. So this was, I believe, right before that SummerSlam, because it was Takeover Brooklyn, and then I think the next day I think they had SummerSlam the next day
Okay.
in a different spot. I might have the days mixed up, but yeah, it was amazing. It was, in fact, I remember being outside of a venue and you finding me and saying, "Hey, have you seen that?" Because that's easily match of the year material. Um,
Right.
and I would happen to agree. I absolutely agree. So we're going to take a look
Yeah,
at
I'd
that match
watched
tonight.
it live.
Yeah. So some fun facts about both of them. before we get started so that people can queue up their WWE Network or whatever proxy server they've got going on. Again, it's NXT Brooklyn, August 22nd, 2015. So both women are Bay Area adjacent natives. Sasha was born in Fairfield, California, and Bailey was born in San Jose, California.
Okay. I did not know Sasha was from the 707.
Yep. So
Which is cool.
we've got fans in the 707. That much I know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where in the 707, but I know that they're there.
Yeah.
So, actually, real quick, since we're speaking of our fans, is there a way that people can give us money since they like what we see?
Absolutely. If you like what you see and you want to tip us, pay a cover, donate, however you want to verbalize it in your brain, you can Venmo at Johnny Taylor, all one word, or you can PayPal Johnny Taylor at about.me. Send some shekels our way. Keep this thing rolling. We're taking, some research time to chat with y'all, and if you want to send some over, Venmo at Johnny Taylor or PayPal Johnny Taylor at about.me.
Yep. Thank you. So, 2010, Sasha breaks into the business. She's wrestling independently as Mercedes KY. I could not find what that stood for, but I have a feeling it was not Kentucky or a kind of jelly. It's probably some designer brand that I don't know about. And she wrestles independently for like 2 years, and then the WWE signs her to contract in NXT in 2012. Her first match televised is a title match against Paige for the NXT title, and she loses.
Title match right out the gate.
Yep. And she'd been there for a little bit, but like they clearly knew that they had something here. She loses a few more matches, and then she turns heel. So
okay.
She started as a face, turns heel.
So she's working babyface coming in.
Yeah. And actually, she ends up beating Bailey in their first televised match. And after that, she goes into the boss gimmick. She calls herself a legit boss. And she teams up with Summer Rae, and they create a stable. And then there's a whole lot of orbiting each other that a lot of these women in NXT do. Now, this is still when they're being called divas, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
it's not the women's division proper yet.
Yeah. Now she'd been pushing the boss, basically boss bitch. Like that's kind of her thing. The snooty, like I'm gonna beat you and I'm gonna be arrogant heel, essentially.
You have to call it legit boss because PG.
Oh yeah, legit boss. She'd been pushing that pretty hard. And Bailey by this point, let's talk about Bailey. She breaks into the business in 2008, and she is doing independents. And interestingly, they never really cross paths in the independent scene. One's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. And Sasha's out on the East Coast as Mercedes KY for a while. She's in Boston. Bailey's out here in California. And Bailey is for 4 years. She's in the independent scene, and then she gets her push, or she gets signed to NXT in December of 2012. So just a few months after Sasha does. She makes her debut wearing a mask, and then she loses that mask pretty quickly on. She decides not to use it.
Bailey's wearing a mask?
Yeah, she starts off as a masked wrestler, which was interesting. Yeah, and couldn't tell if she was heel or face in that. But she changes her name to Bailey with a Y because she's from the Bay.
Cool.
And she loses her first televised match to Paige.
Okay, so they both lost to Paige.
Yeah, kind of a funny, odd thing. So early on, she's kind of the white meat babyface, super fangirl gimmick. Like, just so happy to be here.
Yeah, I remember. She's a hugger.
Yes. And she very much loses more than she wins. Like, Sasha's winning most of the time. Bailey's losing most of the time.
Yeah, I remember this.
But her positivity was just infectious, and the fans loved her. And she ends up keeping on losing until September of 2013, where she finally gets her first victory.
Wow. So she was just putting people over.
Hmm. But it was her after the fact kind of stuff where everybody's just like, "Oh, that's okay. You know what? You did your best." And
She's trying.
yeah, and it's kind of a cool way to build someone. If anybody ever thinks that you have to be winning all the time to get over, that's just not true. Like
No,
some of Brett's
really
best
not.
matches were his losses. You know,
Yeah.
so now because they're such polar opposites, they intertwine with each other quite often. Um, Bailey usually putting Sasha over to make Sasha seem even bitchier, and to make Bailey seem even more white meat baby facey. There ends up being a little girl in the audience. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah, where her family brings her because Full Sail Arena is the same spot, so you just come for weekly entertainment. It's kind of the best of
Right.
both
Right.
worlds. And Bailey
Like those
starts
sportatorium world class matches where you
exactly.
see the same fans in the same spot.
Yep, yep. And so Bailey's feuding against different heels, and now she starts really catching on with people, like I said, and she's got very catchy music. It's
Yeah.
very positive pop '80s stuff, and because of this little girl loving her and her reacting to that, it endeared her even more to the fans. Um,
She got even more over as
yeah,
like super white
yeah,
meat baby face.
yeah, and like how Brett used to give his glasses to a kid in the audience,
Right.
she would give like bands from her arms and stuff like that to a kid,
Right.
and she had a very unique look that kid started aping with the side ponytail and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
she ends up, they orbit each other. I've got a lot of notes here about the different feuds that happen, but essentially it does boil down to she and Sasha are just under the main card as far as the women go. And
Right.
they don't ever fully feud with each other, but there's such chemistry there that's always being pulled into the mix.
Right.
Charlotte ends up being the champion, and eventually Charlotte and Sasha end up having a feud for the championship. And to get to Charlotte, Sasha has to go through Bailey.
Okay.
And Becky gets involved too. Becky Lynch gets involved, who's also freaking amazing. Like these women are just amazing to the point where they start doing fatal four-way matches um, for the title and stuff like that. In February 2015, uh, what's her face? Sasha ends up winning the title in a fatal four-way. And in March, Bailey starts feuding with Emma. Emma, who basically calls out, and she's kind of a heater feud because she calls out Bailey for being too nice. And so Bailey goes out and
Emma,
beats her.
hell of a worker.
Yeah, oh, incredible worker, and she did exactly what she needed to do. She put Bailey over in April of 2015. And Emma had Brooke with her, so Bailey is always fighting from underneath, always
Right.
fighting against groups of people. And at some point in that feud, actually, Bailey's hand legit gets broken. Uh,
Okay.
and so she ended up having to take some time away, get it fixed and stuff like that. She comes back with a cast in July, and she defeated Emma in July of 2015, and that has her as poised to go for the title. Is your cat giving you trouble again?
He's just meowing.
No.
I didn't know what's going on. I thought maybe he
Gotcha.
was just randomly meowing.
Okay. So in August, Bailey fights against Charlotte and Becky Lynch and ends up the number one contender for Sasha Banks' belt.
Okay.
And that sets us up for Brooklyn in August. So that's where we're at. There's a
Okay.
whole lot
Cool.
more, but you guys can Wikipedia it. And
Yeah. You can read the whole story if you
yeah,
want.
yeah,
It's out there.
yeah. Or
Okay.
start
So.
paying us, and then I'd be happy to recite it to you because I've got
Right.
2 pages
Exactly.
of notes. So, but so that gets
Okay.
us ready
So.
for the Takeover Brooklyn match. So now, hopefully, everybody's caught on to Takeover Brooklyn. We are going to start at 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 3 seconds. Essentially, if you just go to the jump to and just click on Bailey versus Sasha, that gets you there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So. We could do a countdown.
Yeah, I like that idea. Um,
Okay, so I'm
so
gonna count back from 5,
yeah,
and we'll hit play on 1. So
okay,
everybody out there, we're counting back from 5. We're hitting play on 1. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
there we go. So crowd shot as usual, and you see Bailey coming out first because she is the challenger. And if you just take a look at even the font of everything,
Oh
when she
yeah, she's
does,
coming out. House of Fire.
yep, she's dressed up like Dusty Rhodes because he recently died, and he was a big influence on her.
Right.
So, and you can see her hand is yeah, and the music to
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
she had the Auto Mall
Mm-hmm.
floaty guys.
Yeah, the wacky waving inflatable tube guys.
Yeah, the crowds. So she's over like we're over
Oh
here.
yeah, oh yeah. The crowd is doing everything she does, and she's giving hugs to little girls and that
She's
lucky guy.
there.
Oh,
Social distancing. Not a thing.
yeah, those halcyon days of 2015.
She's passing God knows what along to all these fans.
Yep,
A couple of people look like Sasha Marks just standing there, arms crossed.
yep. And I gotta say, I love the shirts, the purple shirts with the yellow saying "I'm a hugger."
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
because that was her
Good
thing,
merch.
and she also gave people slap bracelets. That was the thing that she was giving people.
Okay.
So yeah, and she's got the. I mean, it's kind of a Macho Man Shawn Michaels meets the Power of Positivity. Uh, like
Yeah,
with all the frill.
she's throwing. What was she doing? Like throwing love.
Yeah, it was like she was throwing love or throwing happiness or something, and the whole crowd. I mean, they just showed you the crowd, and the whole crowd is super into it,
Yeah.
and she's super into it, and she's just man,
Bailey looking super fit
very
for this match.
ripped. So, and now here
She's
comes the
ready to go.
legit boss, Sasha, the champion, who, I mean, it's what, a cross between JBL, Nick Bockwinkel, um, and Trish Stratus in the TNA
Yeah.
days.
Coming out. Little Eddie Guerrero esque.
Yeah, yeah,
There with the car.
yep. And isn't it,
Flossing hard.
is she's not related to Eddie, but that was her hero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's related to Snoop Dogg, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sasha's cool. Even as a heel,
Mm-hmm.
she is the epitome of like the modern cool heel.
Yeah.
A person that like see a couple people like giving her the thumbs down, but let's not don't get it twisted. She's got a lot of support there
Yep.
as well because she's just a great character at this time.
She is.
Perfect foil for such a white meat baby face.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think either of these two would have gotten over as much if the other didn't exist.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I think that was part of what bonded their friendship so much.
mm-hmm. There you go. She's got she's got 4 manservants, or I guess men servants.
As a shoot.
Yeah.
Bailey and Sasha are super tight.
Yeah, they're best friends. Yeah, and she's just super arrogant. And at this point, there was some doubt if Bailey could win the big one because she was too nice. There was a match that came later where she fought against Alexa Bliss, where it was a Singapore cane match, and Bailey just wouldn't use the Singapore cane, and she lost as a result.
Yeah, you got. I mean, when you sign that contract, you got to know I'm probably going to have to use the Singapore cane.
But she just couldn't bring herself to doing it. She couldn't be mean enough. So it's just and Sasha would call her out. She'd get in her face about it. So here's the announcement. And Bailey
looking super determined.
Yep, and getting the crowd.
What a great look Bailey has.
It's very unique, and it's a lot of women show all the flesh that they can. She shows functional.
Right.
She's got things covered, and she wears pants.
Pants. I think pants is such a good look. I always, think about Rick Rude, and not to divert too much, but Rick Rude, who was just shredded to the max.
Oh yeah.
And probably had amazing thighs, not to get too objectifying, but wore those pants.
Yeah.
And I always thought those pants, I was like, it's even way back prior to WWF. Rick Rude was always a pants guy, even in Mid South,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there's something about pants
I
that I
agree.
think.
Like I did not like when Jericho switched to tights. I didn't.
Right,
You
right.
know, Sean always kept the pants.
Yeah, Triple H for many years was
Yeah.
a pants wearer, and what didn't really even switch to trunks until it was the game era.
Right. Although I
Had
got to say,
Triple.
with his quads, I'm glad he switched to the trunks because he's one of the few guys that I thought it was worth it.
Right, and he man at one point, late 1999,
Hmm.
Triple H was jacked.
Yeah, he was. Oh, so Sasha's talking mess on Bailey, tells her how pathetic she is, and Bailey just goes for it.
So
And
so we got a Haas brawl here
yep. Uh,
at this point.
finally gets and then oh,
Oh, nice little
flying elbow into the back
sitting elbow.
and a clothesline on
Look
somebody
at
who's
Bailey. Bailey could really work her ass
yeah,
off.
she could. Goes for an early cover.
I like that,
Yep.
showing a determination to win.
Mm-hmm. This match matters.
Those early covers really blend into like the believability of the match.
Yep. So, and now Sasha is starting to run Bailey's face into the different turnbuckles, and Bailey's showing that determination, that fire.
Oh, look at that. No sells it.
Yep. And then takes Sasha and just slams her 3, 4, 5 times.
Gives it to her.
Yep. And then
Little George Animal Still action there.
Yep. Going for a tree of woe.
Oh, tree of woe.
Yeah.
Now this works amazingly for Sasha because she's so short.
Yeah. And then oh god, I missed
perfect.
those moves. God dang.
So you got Sasha trying to wiggle her way out of it and just setting it up perfectly for that elbow drop.
Yeah. Bailey does a springboard elbow drop in the corner on Sasha. So
yeah, this is a good looking move here.
yeah, it is.
Hard bump, looks stiff.
Yep. Sasha going for a pin herself, went for a
roll up.
Kick to the gut.
Bad looking kick to the gut, but we'll let it slide.
Yeah. And there's already a bit of a blown spot earlier heading for that tree of woe too. But what I like here is the
beautiful springboard arm drag.
Yeah. Which you don't see.
Shout out to Darby Allin. He does that in AEW a lot.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to bring Darby Allin up in every episode.
I think we need to have a ticker.
The guy's magic, dude.
That's cool. So, and she takes a powder out there, and is doing the arrogant heel thing, and Bailey ain't having it. And Bailey, with the drop kick through the bottom rope.
Nice.
And now she's seated.
Sami Zayn.
Good moves. And she wants the action back in the ring. What I really like about this match, though, is the emotionality of it. Like, it's clear that, Sasha looks down on Bailey. And
right. Now, in your opinion, do you wish Sasha would have sold a little bit more?
Mm-hmm.
Because she's right back on the offense.
Yep.
No real rhyme or reason to it. She's got her ass kicked.
Yep. I mean, she had to be helped into the ring.
Yeah.
She didn't take any time. I think they're, maybe they're hurting for time and they need to,
right.
Need to get your shit in. But it's like, you don't need to necessarily get all the shit in. Like, save it for the rubber match.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I would have liked to see Sasha sell a little more there.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, good job kicking Bailey.
There.
Ooh.
It's a wicked bump outside.
Yeah. And Bailey is on the ground for a while. Sasha... what I like is Sasha's not going out after her either because she's the champion. You don't have to.
Right.
Don't have to win.
Right. Get counted out. It's yeah, that was a great looking bump.
It was. That kick was logical too. Like, oh, you're up there. You and I fought from. I couldn't suplex you from up there. Okay, fine.
Right.
So, and now she's making fun of
Sasha mocking Bailey's throwing.
I like
throwing
that. Little nasty heel action. Let's Bailey work her way back in. Ooh.
I like Sasha, good old fashioned brawl tactics too.
Yeah.
This is the brawling, which these two can obviously work, but the brawling aspect really sells the emotionality of it.
Ooh, nice.
Disrespectful, a little spinning slap.
Yep. Kind of making fun of Bailey still, but I think also she had kind of a workaround dance move kind of hit.
Right.
Oh, you don't often see a double sledge to the stomach, and now we see why. It didn't work.
Right.
So
Looks like oh, look at that little neck crank
yeah,
action there.
I like that Bailey's fighting it with a straightened arm to like post herself up on the canvas.
Yeah,
And
Sasha always looks great
yeah,
as far as like her fitness,
yep.
but Bailey is incredibly ripped for
Oh
her.
God, yeah,
Like she must have been really busting her ass.
yep.
Sasha's always kind of a should be, but Bailey could. Bailey's not always in the best shape, and boy was she in good
Yeah,
shape for this.
she was ripped here. I mean, she's got washboard abs right now.
Yeah,
So and she's so Sasha's got her in a just a painful hold. She's wrapped both of her arms around her own head,
right. Yeah, it
which
looks a little. Is it a? It's a little bit kind of a weird like choke yourself hold. Why are you
yeah,
choking yourself?
yeah, it's a bully
Like
move.
a bully move.
Yeah, and it gives
Big
her a
brother
chance
does.
to sell to the crowd, telling Bailey how pathetic she is.
Right.
So,
Sasha's outfit also sick.
hmm yeah, I'm trying to see what's written on her trunks, but I can't tell.
Yeah.
So, so Sasha's got to move here, and they both ended up having moves in the corner. So
Yeah, a lot of
Sasha's going
corner
for a gut
action.
stomp. Second time trying it, and this time Bailey's got it scouted. Oh man,
Oh, look at that.
head scissors
A bit of
drives
offense.
Bailey into the turnbuckle, and she's going to go for the move again.
Look at
Uh,
that. Determination.
yeah,
Gonna soften her up a little bit
yeah.
first.
So third time's charm, maybe we'll see. Resetting her, and now she's going for the top rope for it because now she means it. And again, she's playing to the crowd. I think a little too much, to be honest. I think she's doing too much of the asides,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, and then driving her knees through
Yeah.
Bailey's gut.
That looks like it hurts.
Yep, and going for the
Goes
pin.
for the pin.
Hooked the leg too. Thought she might get it.
So Bailey, as opposed to Sasha earlier, Bailey's just selling her ass off here.
Mm-hmm.
You believe it. Facial expressions,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep. And hurting, like she's dragging herself
Right,
to the ring. Now, some
right,
of that's
right,
also, Bailey is the white meat baby face,
right.
and so
Yeah, she's doing a great job of making Sasha look menacing.
yeah.
Sasha definitely flapping her gums.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, and to your point, she just took it. She
Yeah.
finally got a
Finally
little
got
receipt
kicked,
for
and then drop toe hold into the second turnbuckle.
it. Really good looking.
Yeah, and another drop toe
Another
hold.
drop toe hold. This time to the
Rolled
and then
over. Oh, I love it.
this
And
is
not
over. I
going
thought she
for
was
a
gonna go for a little
submission.
cross face maybe, but
Yeah,
instead just beat the shit out of her.
yeah. Showing her fire. So,
Look at that.
little
Oh,
Randy Orton work. Oh, dang.
oh, old school.
Yeah. So she threw sidestepped Bailey, threw her out onto the apron, and then took her arm and just rode it down
Oh,
against the thing. And
oh,
now the story with the taped up hand.
yeah. You know it's gonna come up.
Yeah, Bailey legit did break her hand, so this actually
It
does
still
hurt
kind
her.
of black and blue.
Yeah,
Something tells me she's gonna give her a little bit of a massage on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
little palm olive.
So far, just unveiling, not fruitful yet. Oh man, takes her in the ring just to toss her ass
Yeah.
back out.
See, moves like that I like because they show disdain. Like you could
Right,
dial down the talking smack by about 30% and still get the same idea across.
right,
And then, smashing the hand into the steps.
right. I always loved how it was like, don't use a foreign object or you'll
Right.
get disqualified. But if you want to fuck somebody up on these steps that are here conveniently,
Yeah.
have at it.
Don't pick them up and hurt them with
Right.
them.
What are those weird wrestling where rules are only really a myth?
Yep.
Where it's like, hey man, don't take those brass knuckles out. But if you want to pile drive a guy on steel steps, you can.
We can't. Yeah, we brought that. So, all right. So she smashes her hand on the steps and then pins her hand into the steps and kicks them. which now has Bailey selling hard outside. Um,
Okay, so yeah, Bailey's hurting for certain here.
yeah,
Selling it hard. Ref's like, hey, quit being so vicious. She's like, I'm a heel. What
yeah,
am I
that's
supposed to?
kind of what I do. So, and Bailey's not going to give up. Sasha,
Oh, that could have been bad.
it could
So
have.
so Sasha with the plancha over the top rope.
Yeah, over the
And
ref, over the top rope.
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Crowd's going ape shit.
Yep.
Pretty sure we're hearing holy shit chants right now.
Oh yeah. So here it is again.
Over the ref.
Yep. Over the ref and on to, you know, I would have liked, and it's not necessarily Sasha's style, but if she's going to go there, she might as well. I would have liked that to turn into a Hurricane Rana. Just
Oh yeah.
whip Bailey down the aisle.
Instead, Sasha takes a really hard bump on her upper back.
Yeah.
That could have been bad. She could have landed on her head.
It ends up like, I think her career is shortened by all the back bumps she's taken. Like there have been a few times where she had to stop. Now Bailey doesn't really know what to sell here, and that's the interesting thing about a hand. A hand is not normally what you sell. Oh,
right.
So Sasha going for a hurtin' move, does a springboard, and Bailey just shoves her out of the ring.
Yeah, that's another, like, for Sasha, career shortening bump, as she literally just takes a fucking maybe a 15-foot drop straight onto her knees. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And now she's out of the ring, and she's got to work her way back in, which buys Bailey some time. But what I was going to say about selling the hand is it's easy to sell. It's actually kind of unique because you don't normally sell a hand. But at the same time, visually, you're pulling it in. Whereas if someone goes after a knee or an ankle, that you get a lot more sympathy off of that.
Right.
Because it's an obvious limp, you know.
I'll give it to Bailey here. Throwing the forearm because she doesn't want to hurt her hand.
Right, from the opposite hand too.
Yeah. Super realness there.
Yes. Selling
Although
the body
now
part.
she's doing a double axe handle.
Oh, and her hand is hurting from that. Well, and then Bailey. That was Bailey's thing that she was making fun of before. So she does a lot of the corner to corner stuff, and she just dives into you. Oh.
All right. She probably wanted to be a little bit closer to the corner on that, but
so
it works.
Suplex and got Sasha's legs hooked up on the second rope.
You know Bailey's ready. She tightened her ponytail.
And I'm kind of glad that that's incidental instead of like how Randy Orton always does the I'm going to spin around thing now. Oh, and she went for double underhooks.
Show some chain wrestling there. Victory roll, doesn't get it.
Oh,
okay.
It really legit looks like Bailey was going for something and Sasha kind of blocked it and then turned around and did kind of an arm breaker as she fell.
What is that move she did?
I've seen a few people do it. I always just called it an arm breaker because you basically have the person's arm across you and you fall back, which doesn't actually do any damage, but it's supposed
Has
anybody
ever won off that move?
Not that I know of. Oh, look at this.
Oh, it's a stomp on her hand.
Stomping on the broken hand to keep her from going for the ropes on a cross.
How do you fake that?
I'm telling you, it actually did hurt Bailey. Like she said, yeah, no, that hurt a lot, but.
So Bailey now with a crossface.
Yep.
Shout out to Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
This looks painful.
It does. Well, and Sasha's got this ability to bend in half.
Right. She's all the way back now. She gets her leg on the rope. Yeah. Little old school breakage. And
they're both selling the damage done. I didn't know Bailey had a tattoo. You see a little bit of a tattoo.
Now, in 1985, what would have happened was the ref would have called the match. And then another ref would have came down and said, no. And they would have had the good old-fashioned dusty finish.
Yep. It's so funny because like there's so many good things about Dusty, but his booking,
Oh my God.
his booking was good up to the finish.
Right.
You know.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, the Bailey to
Oh,
belly.
right into the finisher, the Bailey to belly
Hmm.
suplex.
And this is in the era where we kick out of people's finishers.
Yeah, don't you hate that?
Yeah.
Well, how do you
Oh,
feel about that?
you know, I think first off they're talking to each other. I didn't like that, but
Yeah.
I
He's like, the next one, I'm gonna get you.
right. Here's what I think. I think that when done sparingly, and I mean sparingly, you protect the finish, but also you have matches end in other ways without the finish. I think
Right.
honestly, I think video games kind of wrecked it.
Yeah,
Um,
where sometimes you would do Ravens DDT,
mhm.
and then the guy would kick out, and then you have to do it 3 more times.
Right. I do think there's a like a gamification of it, and I don't. I think I liked it better when you could find victories in other ways, and you'd pull out your finisher as your last resort. By the way, they're
Right.
fighting for a Bailey to belly up on the top rope. Sasha has stopped her so far, and Bailey goes running with a forearm.
Sasha sells it like Bailey just hit her with a stick of dynamite.
Yep. And now she's going for looks like a
Hurricane
hurricane.
Rana from the top rope.
Oh,
It's nothing. Almost breaks her fucking face.
Jesus.
That bump looked fucking gnarly.
That's I think 3 or 4 moves where they have pushed each other as the counter, which I
Yeah.
really like that. I think that's really smart.
Bailey took a wicked looking bump on
Yeah.
there. I do not think she was supposed to catch her face that much.
Oh, dang, that's
And
gonna hurt your
Sasha,
knees.
and you got to say, if Sasha doesn't land that absolutely perfectly,
Yep.
your face is dust.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sasha comes down with 2 knees, one on either shoulder, and puts you down. They're going for the replay of it, and it
Oh, yeah.
looks brutal.
Yeah. That could kill you if she misses.
Yep. So a lot of trust between these two. And again,
Yeah, and they're going for it. The
Sasha's
crowd's
pissed.
absolutely ape shit.
Oh yeah.
It should be noted.
Oh yeah. Like this, I think this stole the show. So.
Could you imagine a match like this in 1995?
Oh my God.
It would blow people's minds.
Oh yeah, like just the athleticism of it.
Like this, like to the shit they were trotting out in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
This is just next level.
You imagine like Ludwig Borga and Lex Luger following this?
Right, I know. Fucking Vader versus Bunkhouse Buck.
That would,
You know?
yeah, yeah. All right, so they're on the other corner now, and Bailey is going for a backward Hurricane Rana. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so she did a backward Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Bailey's got all the heat right now. Okay, Bailey to belly. Is this where we get to finish?
Yep, Bailey to belly to finish it up.
Boom. That's it. First off, that reverse Hurricane Rana, which landed perfectly, and Sasha sold perfectly.
Yeah. And Sasha had
then,
basically backflip moonsault.
Amazing. And then Bailey hits her with a finisher. Fans go home happy. That's
yeah.
So this is Bailey's first title win.
Yep.
It's obviously going to be super emotional for her.
So the thing about that though is that
rode hard and put away wet.
The Bailey to belly was an exclamation point. It wasn't the thing that did her in.
Oh yeah, that other one looks so good too.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Is like I would rather that finisher, the Bailey to belly, not have been used prior at all.
Right.
And it didn't even need to get used here. Like you could have won with the other one. It's like, oh wow, she brought out something new, and Sasha wasn't ready for it.
Right.
So,
that said, I'm not too mad at having her hit her with a finisher too.
No.
Adds a little extra umph on it.
Yeah.
How much time did they give these guys?
Let's see. They started at 1:13 and it's now 1:37.
So about 20 minutes.
Yeah, good 20-minute match.
After all the pomp and circumstance at the beginning. So yeah, I mean, absolutely
hand stomp.
High drama.
Yep.
So much build. They did. I mean, aside from a couple of botches, I thought the match was pretty damn clean.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It,
it looked like a fight. It looked dangerous.
yeah.
You know,
And
so some of those
there
where
was
they
some.
didn't land just quite right, it
Yeah.
just kind of added to the believability of it.
Yeah, exactly that. Like there were a few moves where it was just like the counter was to push the person away and just ruin their move instead of
Right.
like anything else. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It looked like a fight. Um, you know, it's like you said, there's some realism to it because these moves are take a good amount of coordination. Here's that Hurricane Rata again.
Yeah, that looked
Which,
amazing. Perfect sell by
yeah,
Sasha.
yep.
Dazed and confused.
Mm-hmm. And then the sets are up for the Bailey to belly. 1, 2,
Which
3.
looked amazing also. That was
Yeah,
a way better one than the first one. So
true.
again, that adds to the believability.
Yep, yep.
She looked like she got that one completely.
Yeah, she got all of it. Who do we know that did the belly to belly suplex as a finisher? Was that
Iron Sheik did it for a while.
That's
He
right.
he did a belly to belly suplex. You know, he would win with that. I mean, he obviously had the Cobra Clutch, but um,
The camel clutch.
oh yeah, the Cobra Clutch was Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Bailey's homegirls are in there. Becky and Charlotte, they're happy for a minute.
And there's a what do you call it? Yeah, so this is kind of a blend between it probably looked like a better idea on paper.
That looks sweet. They're trying to carry her like fucking when Ronnie Garvin won the title against Ric Flair.
Yeah. Or like Brett in WrestleMania 10.
Right.
So it's Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Bailey all in there together, looking like a Neapolitan ice cream.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hair.
So yeah.
They're showing the belly to belly again, which looked amazing.
It really did.
I mean, she
whipped her around.
Also, hooks the leg and hooks the other leg with the leg.
Yep.
Because she wants to ensure she gets the pin.
Yep.
Another fan.
And so this, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? Like, this feels a little, what do you call it? Curtain call-y. But what are your thoughts on this? Because they had such a personal rivalry going into this, and they have one after.
Oh, they have the click moment.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about Sasha, who is just talking about how pathetic she is and stuff like that during the match, and then coming in and congratulating her?
And then them doing the 4 horsewoman.
Mm-hmm.
So they're totally breaking kayfabe here.
Yeah.
This is definitely their click moment.
Yeah. And the crowd loves it.
Here's the thing. In the internet age of wrestling, them throwing up the 4 horsewoman, you know, it comes off cooler than anything, but as an old school wrestling fan, it's just like you were just mocking the shit out of her.
Right. Exactly that. There, we got you back.
Yeah, this is a complete click moment here.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, fuck it. You know, they all know they're about to leave NXT anyways.
Well, 3 of them are, funnily enough. Bailey stays.
Bailey's got the belt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of like when Hunter stayed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, all right. So, your thoughts on that moment?
I think it's weak as an old school wrestling fan because, you know, obviously Sasha and Bailey are having this rivalry. Sasha's mocking the shit out of her the entire time.
Right.
And then they have this feel-good moment where you got heated rivals from the promotion and they're throwing up the 4 horsemen signal. Right. And it's just like, it comes off, as an old school guy, it comes off convoluted and hella, you know, as a shoot angle when it could have been cool. But I also get it as 3 of them are going on to the main roster. You know, they're having their click moment. So, I mean, I bet the new school wrestling fans probably didn't give 2 shits about it. So,
yeah, probably.
In the age of internet wrestling communities, I think they're just like, oh, wow, a shoot, you know. So,
right. Okay.
I don't know. It comes off kind of weak in context of the match they just had, for sure. What do you think?
Well, I think if they'd told a different story during the match, if Sasha had started with the whole "you're pathetic"
Right.
and and all that, and then she started coming away from that and just like doing like whatever move she does just doesn't put her down, and then like she plays that she's earning her respect.
Right. Yeah. There was no show of like, wow, she's really good.
Yeah.
She kind of just mocked her the entire time until she got pinned.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I think, from an old school philosophy, it comes off kind of cheesy. But
Yeah. But
at the same time, man, kayfabe is dead.
true. True. So,
So,
all right, how many stars do you give this? How would you rate it?
dude, I think it's a solid 4.25-star match.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it had drama. Technically, it was great. They looked great. I liked it. I mean, is it fucking, Shinsuke Nakamura and Kenny Omega in New Japan? Probably not,
No.
but uh, it's still really good.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
again. It had a lot of the things that I loved. I would say 4.25 as well. I think there were a couple botched spots. I think there were some dirty spots that added to it.
I
Um,
agree.
but I think the emotionality of it was really solid. I think the moves were all just really good. That last Bailey to belly was sick. Um, I think in the context of what wrestling is today, I'd say it's easily 4.25.
Yeah, and I mean, they told a great story,
Yeah,
and
they
that's
did.
the bottom line in a wrestling match.
Yep.
You have all these promos and all this heat and this feuding,
Yep.
and then you really tell the story during the match. And from that perspective, I think it was great. And that's why I thought it diminished it a little bit by having that after the pinfall, because you
Yeah.
go to all this length to tell this great story, and then you have that at the end of it.
And it
It,
wasn't built in. Like if that respect had been built in, I would have been down for it.
right,
Yeah.
but
Um.
still, hell of a
So
match by two hell of a workers.
yeah. So Sasha doesn't actually go up to the main roster with Becky and Charlotte until July of the following year.
Okay, so
Um.
she's down there.
Yeah.
She's with Bailey.
Well, no, I'm sorry. You know what? Let's see. This was August of 2015. Yeah, it's not until July, I think, that they go. If those of you out there, feel free to at us and correct me. But Bailey stays. She's the only one of those four who stay, and she helps strengthen the women's division down there, and she does it with a feud with Asuka,
Okay,
and,
yeah.
and that
And
sets.
Asuka, I
Yeah.
mean, since we're talking about women wrestling,
Hmm.
Asuka, what a hell of a worker
Oh
she
my
is, and
god.
she's been by far one of the highlights of this quarantine era at WWE for sure.
Nice. I loved her. I loved Asuka's early work when she didn't speak English at all.
Right.
I loved. There was this one where she was. I think it was Nia Jax. Like so, she was feuding. So they sold Nia as this monster, which she's
Right.
she's enormous. She's fantastic. And then Asuka was just this undefeatable machine. And Bailey sold both of them as such for the next year. Um, and then Asuka had this one thing where Nia called her out, and Asuka comes down, and if I recall, like again, Nia is just huge, and stands down to nobody, and she yells at her and tells Asuka all this mess, and then Asuka grabs the mic and cuts a promo on her in Japanese,
Damn.
and it scares the shit out of Nia. Like it
That's hilarious.
backs Nia down. It was awesome. Characters evolve and stuff like that, but I was like, I really want to sit in that aspect of that character for a
Right.
year. So, but yeah, Sasha moves up to the main roster with Becky and Charlotte in July. I have 2015, but it's clearly not right. Um, and that becomes part of Stephanie's Women's Revolution, which Stephanie gives an announcement at Brooklyn about that. And then Bailey does the honors and to Asuka, and Asuka becomes the next big thing, and Bailey moves up the following August. While Sasha's been at the main roster, whatever show she's been on, and she's bounced back and forth, she's almost always in the title picture. She and Charlotte had some classics to the point where they main evented Hell in the Cell. And eventually, like I said, Bailey came up, and she and Sasha end up helping each other to defeat Charlotte, and then they end up um, hating each other for a while, and their feud was starting to heat up, and then they got Team Hell Node. Like they basically were made to go to anger counseling together and became a tag team.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it worked once. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't it work?
And they become the Boss and Hug Connection.
Whew. Who's in that writing room?
Uh, Not Freddie Prinze, I'll tell you
Right.
that. And then they ended up winning the tag title for women, because there was a tag title. And Sasha had been told, you're going to get to team with your best friend, and y'all are going to have a really long run, and we're going to actually make this work. And then they got broken up almost immediately thereafter. And so Sasha went home. She's like, I'm going to go on hiatus. And she apparently, I think she talked to, I forget who she talked to, because I know Nia Jax was running into the same problems of just like, I don't like how they're using me. And The Rock told her flat out, then stay home. Make them miss you.
Yeah. I know Sasha Banks was kind of flirting with AEW for a minute.
Yeah, she was.
But now, like, Sasha's back in the mix, and Bailey's the champ.
But Bailey's a heel now, too.
Huh?
Bailey's now a heel. She's cut her hair, and she's...
Yeah, she's full on heel.
Yeah, and what kind of heel is she playing, by the way?
She's like a smug... Okay. Like, she's definitely playing, like, the smug, I'm better than you kind of heel.
The Chris Jericho.
Very much so.
Yeah. So, kind of the Nick Bockwinkel.
Yeah, and she's doing a hell of a job, and I'm looking forward to seeing her match at Money in the Bank. So
cool. So, yeah, hell of a match. It started something really cool. Now we're at the point where both of them have gone on to do pretty cool stuff overall.
Yeah, they're super both, like, always either the champ or in the title contention. Yeah. No one really close to how over Becky Lynch is right now, who is literally one of the most popular stars in wrestling, regardless of gender. So
yeah, I think what was it? Jim Ross told Seth Rollins, try to take notes from your wife on how to get over.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, real talk though, Becky's as over as any woman wrestler in the history of the business right now.
And what is it that's causing her to be so over?
Oh man, I'm the man gimmick, which was, and she just cuts a hell of a promo,
Nice.
I mean, so yeah, Becky has elevated that division very, very high. So
that's fantastic.
I'm going to tell these people one more time, if they want to donate, tip, pay a cover, it's Venmo at Johnny Taylor, PayPal Johnny Taylor at about.me. Once again, Venmo at Johnny Taylor, or PayPal Johnny Taylor at about.me.
There we go.
And so, in closing, what are we thinking about looking at next week? Do we know?
Yeah, actually, there's a few matches that I was looking at that were funny to me, and I thought maybe we could do comedy matches.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and there's about 3 of them. So comedy matches are historically short, and so there's 3 of them, and I thought we'd actually even bring in some TNA, because I found some TNA great. On the YouTube.
Oh, you mean the Federation? Okay.
Yes, and I also found the Federation on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
Total nonstop action. And so we're going to see a match between, I'm a sucker for tag teams, and so are you. So we're going to do Team 3D versus Shark Boy and Curry Man.
That sounds amazing.
We're going to do
the titles. You can tell what that's going to look like.
Oh yeah, and I loved Shark Boy at that time because he was doing the Stone Cold Steve Austin gimmick.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, it's so good. And then there's a match with Kane and the Big Show versus the Heartthrobs from a Halloween match on Raw.
The Heartthrobs. That is a tag team I have forgotten about. So.
Understandably so. And there might be one other comedy match in there that I'll find. Probably Screaming Norman Smiley against somebody.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, we've been going for over an hour.
Yeah.
So
So pass.
I think I need to put my cat to bed.
Cool.
And what I mean by put my cat to bed is I need to go smoke some pot. But it was super fun. What a great match, and let's do it again next week.
I like it. I'll see you next Sunday at 8:30.
All right, see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Take care.
Be good.